Let me tell you something right now. There is one thing, one decision, one change that if you make it, if you commit to it, people will never look at you the same way again. It ain't expensive. It ain't even complicated. But it will cost you something. It'll cost you your comfort. It'll cost you your excuses. It'll cost you your habits. But if you do this once, just once, you'll walk different, you'll talk different, and people will treat you different. I remember years ago sitting across from this brother, smart man, hustler, mind sharper than a razor, but every time life knocked him down, he stayed down, talking about man, life ain't fair, and I got no opportunities, and they don't respect me. And I looked at him, I said, of course they don't respect you. You don't even respect yourself. He blinked, offended, confused, mad even, but I wasn't trying to tear him down. I was trying to wake him up. Because respect, true, earned, life-altering respect starts the moment you say no more. No more complaining, no more waiting, no more fitting in. You want to know the one thing you can do that'll flip the way the world sees you. The moment you stop chasing approval and start demanding excellence from yourself, watch what happens. Watch how the room shifts when you walk in with your head held high, not arrogant, but certain. Watch how people lean in when you speak, not because you're louder, but because your words carry weight now, but you can't fake it. You can't post your way into it. You gotta earn it. This ain't about wearing a suit. This ain't about driving the right car or speaking with the right accent. No, sir. This is about the energy you carry, the discipline you move with, the decisions you make when no one's watching. See, people don't treat you different because you say you've changed. They treat you different because they can feel it. You walk in with that fire, that certainty, that I know who I am and where I'm going, a type of energy, and the world will adjust. You do this once, and your silence will speak louder than all your explanations ever did. Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman I knew. Single mom, 2 jobs, running herself ragged. Everybody talked over her, looked past her. She came to me, asked, "Why does nobody take me seriously?" I asked her, "How seriously do you take yourself?" And she went quiet. Couple months go by. She stops going out every weekend, starts waking up early, prays, journals, reads, invests in her health, learns a new skill, applies to 3 new jobs, didn't tell nobody, but something about her changed. The way she looked at you, the way she stood, she was solid. Next thing I hear, she's managing the team that used to ignore her. You see what I'm saying? You shift your standards once, and the world gets the message. You can't treat me the way you used to. I'm not the same person. But don't get it twisted. It's lonely at first. When you start choosing discipline over distraction, people won't clap for you. They'll say you're acting different. They'll say you changed. They're right. You did when you stop saying yes to things that drain you. When you stop laughing at jokes that ain't funny, stop accepting less than you deserve. That makes people uncomfortable, but you didn't come here to fit in. You came to rise up, and let me tell you, the moment you choose that path, the wind will push against you. Friends will leave, opportunities will dry up, doors will slam in your face, but you gotta keep going. Because on the other side of that resistance is respect. You keep showing up, not loud, not boastful, just consistent. Let them talk, let them doubt you, but every day you sharpen your craft. You master your morning. You treat your time like it's gold. You surround yourself with winners, with people who speak vision and faith and discipline into your bones. And then one day, they'll look at you and say, "I don't know what it is, but something about you's different," and you won't need to explain it. Because it's written all over you. It's in the way you carry yourself, in the way you shake a hand, firm but respectful, in the way you listen before you speak, in the way you walk away from nonsense, not because you're weak, but because you value your peace. See, once you raise your internal thermostat, you stop letting people drag you down into the cold. You become a force. But understand this, doing this once is not about a single act. It's about a line in the sand. One decision to stop settling, one decision to get serious, one decision to stop negotiating with your greatness, and once you cross that line, you don't go back, you can't go back, because now you've seen what it feels like to be in alignment. To look in the mirror and see someone you respect, someone you admire, someone who's done the work when no one was watching. That kind of person doesn't beg for recognition. They become undeniable. You show me a man or a woman who keeps their word to themselves, and I'll show you someone the world cannot ignore, because character, it leaks out of you, it's in your tone, your timing, your presence. People don't follow titles, they follow integrity, they follow excellence, they follow people who know who they are, and if you want to be that person, don't wait for a new year, don't wait for motivation to strike. Make a decision to show up early, to shut your mouth and open your ears, to put down the phone and pick up a book, to outwork, outlearn, and outlast. Once, do it once and mean it, and I promise you, when you commit to showing up different, the world has no choice but to respond. They'll treat you different because they have to, because now you've become someone they can't afford to overlook, not because you asked, not because you begged, but because you became someone who walks in truth, lives with purpose, and leads with fire. And the world feels that every single time when you look in the mirror, who do you see? Not just the surface, not the clothes, the face, the hairstyle, but the person underneath. Do you respect that person? Do you hold that person to a high standard? Because the truth is, the world will always reflect back to you what you believe about yourself. It's not magic, it's not theory, it's energy, it's action. It's the silent message you carry into every room before you even say a word. You can't walk around expecting people to value your time if you're the one always running late. You can't demand loyalty when you betray your own goals. You can't cry about being overlooked when you keep shrinking yourself, talking yourself out of opportunities, brushing off compliments like they don't belong to you. Every time you say, "It's nothing," when someone sees your greatness, you're training them to ignore it. And eventually they will. Self-respect isn't about ego. It's not about being proud or puffing your chest out. It's about making a decision every single day that you are worthy of better, and then backing that up with behavior. When you take yourself seriously, you eat better. You speak with more purpose. You move with intention. You don't chase. You attract. Not because you're trying to manipulate, but because your consistency becomes magnetic. People can feel when you're grounded, when you walk into a meeting or a conversation or an interview and you're rooted in who you are. Your presence announces itself before you do. They may not know why, but they pay closer attention. Your words carry more weight. Your silence even has a presence to it, not because you're better than anyone else, but because you're sure of yourself, and that confidence didn't come from applause. It came from the dark hours when no one was watching and you still showed up. Respect begins in the quiet moments, the moment you choose to keep your word even when it's inconvenient, the moment you decide not to let a bad day become a bad week, the moment you stop talking about it and actually do the thing. That's when your internal standard starts to rise, and once it does, people notice they have to, because your vibe, your tone, your language, it all changes. You stop explaining yourself so much, you stop apologizing for existing. You stop entertaining people who don't match your energy. The moment you stop lowering your bar to accommodate other people's comfort, you begin to rise, and not everyone's gonna like that. Some will say you're acting brand new, that you're too good now, but don't let that shake you. Because the same people who criticize your growth will come back later asking how you did it. Why? Because self-respect echoes, it moves, it spreads. You set boundaries and people either step up or step off, but either way you've taught them how to treat you. You've shown them that access to your time, your mind, your presence is earned, not given away freely. And once people realize that you won't tolerate disrespect, not because you're angry, but because you've elevated, they begin to either shift how they engage with you or remove themselves entirely, and both are blessings. So if you want people to look at you different, start by looking at yourself different. Talk to yourself with more belief, stand taller, make promises, and keep them. The world will respond accordingly. Because when you carry yourself like someone who matters, the world learns to treat you like someone who does. Change doesn't happen because you want it to. It doesn't show up just because you're tired of how things are. Change shows up when you decide that what's in front of you isn't enough anymore, and that decision, it's not made in a moment of motivation. It's made in the middle of discomfort. It's made when the old life is still calling, still tempting, still easy. But you choose differently. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. People want to be respected. They want to be seen, to be valued. But they don't want to pay the price. They want the results without the routine. They want the outcome without the hours, but transformation, real, lasting soul, deep transformation, requires sacrifice. You have to let go of something. Maybe it's your comfort, maybe it's your distractions, maybe it's a version of yourself that felt safe but small. But you don't get to become someone new while holding on to who you were. It takes consistency, day after day, when it's boring, when it's silent, when nobody's clapping. That's where the shift happens. Not when the lights are on, but when it's just you, your thoughts, and your decisions. That's where character is built. That's where the foundation is laid. That's where people start to feel the difference, even if they can't explain it yet. You show me someone who rises early not because it's trendy, but because they made a commitment to themselves. And I'll show you someone who's going places. You show me someone who says no to distractions, who turns off the TV, who skips the party, who chooses to study, train, practice. And I'll show you someone who's building something no one can take from them. But here's the part most folks don't want to hear. It's hard, it's inconvenient, you're going to be tired, you're going to question if it's worth it. You'll have days where you want to go back to what's easy, what's familiar. And that's the test. That's the moment that defines whether the change is real or just something you said when you were inspired. You don't need discipline when everything's going your way. You need it when it's not. You need it when you don't feel like getting out of bed, when your phone is lighting up with invitations and distractions, when your emotions tell you to take it easy. That's when consistency matters most, because that's when most people quit. And when you don't quit, when you keep showing up, when you keep choosing growth over comfort, that's when people start to notice. Maybe they don't say it out loud. Maybe they won't tell you, but they see it. They see the way you've stopped complaining, the way you carry yourself, the way you show up on time, prepared, focused. You stop blending in. You become undeniable, not because you announced it, but because you proved it, one action at a time. It's not the big moves that change your life. It's the small, unglamorous, consistent choices you make when no one's watching. That's the real work, and that's the reason why most never get there. Because it's easier to talk about change than to live it. It's easier to post about goals than to sacrifice for them. But the ones who actually do it, they're the ones who change how the world treats them. Not with words, but with proof. There's a moment in every person's life where they're faced with a choice that doesn't look dramatic, doesn't feel like some movie scene, but it carries the weight of everything. One decision, one shift, one line you draw in the sand. That's all it takes to change everything. Not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you become different. You make a decision that you're done living beneath your potential, done making excuses, done shrinking so others feel comfortable. And when that decision is real, when it comes from deep inside, everything starts to move. People think change is this long, slow grind, and yes, it takes work, but the spark, the catalyst, that happens in a single moment. The moment you say, no more. No more wasting time. No more letting fear drive. No more half-hearted effort. And once you cross that line, life doesn't look the same. People don't treat you the same. Because now you're walking different. You're operating from a new frequency. And whether they can name it or not, they can feel it. You ever see someone walk into a room and shift the atmosphere without saying a word? That's not luck. That's not something they were born with. That's the result of a decision they made, and then backed it up every single day. That's the power of doing something once, fully, with no turning back. When you stop playing with your own potential, people stop playing with your time. When you stop waiting for permission to be great, people stop offering you crumbs. It starts with that one act of seriousness. Maybe it's waking up at 5 a.m. Maybe it's cutting off distractions. Maybe it's walking away from people who drain you. But whatever it is, it becomes a signal to your soul that you're stepping into something more. And the world begins to notice, not immediately, not overnight, but inevitably. Because when you align your decisions with your vision, things start to bend in your favor. Doors open, not because they magically appeared, but because now you're in position to see them, to walk through them. That one moment of commitment shifts your energy. People start coming to you with a different tone. They respect your time because they see you respecting it. They watch how you move and begin to treat you like someone with purpose. You don't have to demand it. You don't have to explain. You become the proof. That's what one decision can do. But understand, this isn't about being perfect. It's not about never messing up again. It's about never going back. You might stumble, you might slow down, but once that decision is made, your foundation has changed. You've set a new standard for yourself, and you can feel it every time you try to go back to your old habits. They don't sit right anymore. They don't fit because you've outgrown them, and you know it. That's the beauty and the burden of a defining decision. Once you see what you're capable of, you can't unsee it. You've tasted what it means to respect your own journey, and the more you honor that choice, the more you attract what aligns with it. People start treating you differently because they can tell, without you saying a word, that you've changed the story you tell yourself. And that's the first story that ever really mattered. So now you've heard it, every word, every truth, every challenge. You don't need a perfect plan, and you don't need permission. All it takes is one real decision to raise your standard, one moment to say, enough. Because the second you start carrying yourself like someone who matters, the world starts to listen. Not because you asked, but because you showed them. Through action, through discipline, through consistency. Respect isn't given, it's earned. And the day you start respecting yourself like your future depends on it, is the day everything begins to change.